All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going to unpack the origin story of the U.S. government. And believe it or not, this story starts thousands of years before 1776.
So, have you ever really stopped to think about it? These big concepts like liberty and justice for all, they didn't just pop into existence out of nowhere. So, where did the founders get their playbook?
Well, here's the thing. The founders were brilliant, but they weren't inventing from scratch. They were more like master assemblers. They looked back through history, took the best building blocks from the world's greatest civilizations, and pieced them together to create something totally new. And today, we're going to unpack those very blocks. Our first building block takes us way, way back, all the way to ancient Greece. This is where the whole idea of citizen power, the very foundation of it all, really gets started. The Greeks gave us this absolutely revolutionary concept, democracy. It literally means rule by the people. Now, the key word you gotta hang on to here is directly. In a place like ancient Athens, citizens didn't just vote for someone to represent them. They actually showed up themselves to debate and vote on the laws. And this kind of direct participation wasn't just a right they had. It was seen as a duty. So from Greece, we get these core concepts: civic participation, the whole idea of having legislative bodies like assemblies, the fundamental power of voting, and even the idea of writing it all down in a constitution. These are absolute game changers. Okay, so let's move to our next block and see how the idea evolves. If Greece gave us the spirit of citizen power, ancient Rome gave us the practical machinery to make that spirit work on a much, much larger scale. So the Romans pioneered republicanism. And here's the fundamental difference, and honestly, the genius of it all. It's the idea of representation. I mean, think about it. You can't have every single citizen show up to debate every law in a huge country. It's just impossible. So instead, you elect people you trust to govern on your behalf. That idea was a massive innovation. And on top of that, the Romans also championed the rule of law, this really radical idea that nobody, not even a king or an emperor, is above the law. They also played around with separating powers into different branches to make sure no one person or group got way too powerful. Sound familiar? It should. All right, on to our third building block. Now, this one's a little different. It's not a blueprint for how to structure a government. It's more like a moral compass. It's the ethical foundation that really guided the spirit of the whole American experiment. This one quote really captures the heart of that Judeo-Christian influence. It's not just about having laws. It's about this constant, relentless pursuit of what is morally right. It framed lawmaking as not just a political thing, but an ethical one. So from this tradition, we get these core principles that are just woven into the fabric of American society. This deep focus on justice, this profound belief that every single individual has worth and dignity, and the importance of taking personal responsibility for your own actions. Okay, so let's put it all together. We've got our three ancient building blocks on the table: Greek democracy, Roman republicanism, and a Judeo-Christian ethical compass. So how did the American founders actually forge these into a new republic? Well, you can think of it kind of like a recipe for a government, right? Step one, you start with that Greek base, the idea that power comes from the people. Step two, you build on that with a Roman structure. The people use their power by electing representatives who have to follow the law. And then, step three, you infuse that whole system with these guiding ethical principles of justice and individual worth. And the final result, the thing that comes out of the oven, is this: a constitutional republic. See, it's a republic because we elect representatives, taking that page right from the Roman playbook. But it's constitutional because there's a foundational document, the Constitution, that limits the government's power and protects the rights of the individual. That's a principle that echoes both Greek and Judeo-Christian ideas. This chart really helps clarify how it all came together. Just look at the U.S. column. Who governs? Elected representatives, just like Rome. But check out power source. It's not just the people through elections. It's a written constitution that grounds all authority in we the people. That's the Greek spirit, written right into the Roman structure. It's a masterful blend, really. So, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that the American system of government wasn't just a copy and paste job. It was an innovation. The founders took the wisdom of the ancients, they learned from all their successes and their failures, and they combined them into a totally unique blueprint for a new kind of nation. And that leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. A republic is a fragile thing. To keep it strong, which of these ancient building blocks do we need to focus on most today? Is it the Greek idea of active citizens, the Roman principle that no one is above the law, or that ethical commitment to justice and individual worth? Something to chew on. Thanks for tuning in.